Okay, hello. So this is right now I'm screen sharing my terminal and this is my project 2 directory. So you can see I have the main chunk file, which we'll get into in a second, as well as this check LWC, oh, sorry, check LWC.c file, which basically just checks some user inputs and validates them to make sure that the users aren't giving zeros for words given or doing anything that'll break the program. Basically validating the input and returning 0 if success and 1, 2, or 3 if an error. Then we also have the .h file, which is just the prototype. And then for the big file, we have chunk. So I wrote a little author thing. You can see I included a bunch of different things for different methods I ended up using. I defined some errors, as well as the buff size and default lines. And then I have a bunch of global variables. So the top are just a couple of like counters and flags I end up using that I need to be global, which I'll explain later. Then I have kind of flags that I change based on what arguments are given. And then I have flags, or so these are variables for the argument parameters. And then next I have these guys, these last 6 global variables are flags based on whether they give a parameter or not. So first I have my get arguments function, which is based off the parse args that you gave us, that the Professor Netta gave us. And it just parses the arguments, changes a global variable based on the parameter, as well as the global variable flag if the parameter is given, and prints to standard error if there is an issue. Pretty straightforward. And then next I have my create file function. What this function does is it uses the open function to create a file, and right here it uses this open function to create a file, and it increments the suffix as well. So it does some substring work, and then once it gets the new file substring, it creates the file and it checks for a bunch of errors. So if the file exists already, so we don't overwrite, as well as if open doesn't work and it gives the file descriptors an error, it's returned. An error is just defined as -1. Yeah, and then if the suffix, and then the if else statements is just if the suffix is given or if it's not given, because I treat them differently, because I'm incrementing numbers versus letters. And then, yeah, so, and then this is the main. So first in the main, we get arguments, and then we kind of check the validity of the arguments with the other file, the check LWC that you see right here. And then we check if the file is given through that command, through the F flag, or if it's given through standard input. And then yeah, some more error checking. And then here's the while statement. So this if statement, I have an if else statement, which basically says, should we do lines, words, or characters? So the first part is lines, and I default to lines even if they give multiple and print out this nice error message. And then if it is not lines, then I default to words. And if it's not words, then I default to characters. And basically they just run the code on chunking the file. So that's kind of where the bulk of the read and write stuff is. Pretty simple though. And then check for some more errors, and then close my file descriptor. I close my output file descriptor up here. In the if statement, I open and close it all together, and then I close the input down here, and then return success, which just is defined as 0 right here, if everything works well. So now let me demo it. Chunk, let's say -f, I have a test.txt, and then let's do -l, I think let's do 10. Okay, so now you can see that it made use the default prefix and suffix to make 4 files, and I can cat one of them so you can see what's in it. And it's just the first, let me do word count. It's just the first 10 lines of .text. And now let me just cat x-aa, x-ab, x-ac, and x-ad. And let's throw that into test2.txt. And now we can see diff test.txt, test2.txt, and you can see there's no difference. So it works. Okay, let me just do some more test cases. So let me just remove those files, and now /chunk. Let's give it a couple of commands. So 10 lines, and then let's say words 10 as well, and then input file through this. So test through standard input. So it gives a little message. More than one of the following were given. Program will use -L as default. It's a nice way for the user to know what I am doing, and then you can see it does the same thing. rm x star. Okay, now I will do .chunk. I'll change the prefix and suffix. So let's do prefix. Let's do part dash, and for suffix, let's start at 02. And then let's change it up and do characters, or let's do words, and 100 words, or 50. Let's do 50. And then the file test.txt. So now you can see that we have part 2 and part 3. So let's do word count of test.txt. So you can see that's 400, or that's 75 words. Now word count part -02. You can see that's 50 words, just like we told it. And then 3 should be 25 words, which are just the leftover words. So that works. And you can see it started from 2 and incremented. Now let's really test this. So now I want to show you, let's do characters and 1 character. So each file has 1 character, and let's start at 50 because I want to show you what happens when it reaches the end. So this is just a debug thing, and then we see, I probably should have deleted this. That's okay though. That's just a debugging thing. And then you can see error, reach file capacity, copied data into 50 files. And then you can see part 50 through part 99. So yeah, that's what happens when you overload it, and it reaches capacity, and it copies as much as it can, and then obviously stops. Almost deleted my project. Okay. Now, let's just run one more test case. So we can start from 0 characters, 100. There's 700 characters. There should be 8. There's 750, I think. So there should be 8 files. 4 files. Let's see. So word count, test.txt. Yeah, so 454 characters, and you have 5 files. So let's just do word count of one of them, part -0. Yeah, 100 characters, and then -04. This should be 54 characters, and it is. So you can see it effectively chunks. I can even cat for you. I don't know if I have yet. 04. This is just the end of the file. And the file is the script of the B movie, or the beginning of it, the first 454 characters of it. So that is what I used. I can also do the default, but this test file does not have 1,000 lines, so it might not matter, but I can just show you that it works. So this would be 1,000 lines since I don't give any commands, and it should be 1 file, and it should have everything, cat part 0, 0. Yeah, so that is the entire file, and it defaulted to 1,000, and then since it doesn't have 1,000 lines, it stopped here. Well, I hope that was a good demo. I hope you enjoyed my program. Yeah, thank you.